You wouldn't know it by looking at me, but I'm literally dying inside. I had a grandfather. My mom's father, Bill Kropp, was a legendary basketball coach here in Nebraska. I had an uncle, Tom Kropp, play in the NBA, and my father was also a professional basketball player. My whole life was basketball, and all I wanted to do was play in the NBA. In high school, I had a scholarship and an appointment to the United States Air Force Academy to go and play basketball out there. So as a senior in high school, I felt like I had a real plan with the next 5 to 10 years of my life. I was in a movie theater on Christmas Eve night, and I really started to feel pain in my heart, to the point where every beat hurt. Christmas night, we made it all the way back to Bryan Hospital here in Lincoln, and they called in a bunch of physicians and staff into the emergency room. And they said, Ben, by the looks of things, you've been having a massive heart attack for about a day and a half. From that point on, that plan of 5 to 10 years that I had laid out started to change. I no longer had an appointment to the Air Force Academy because I had been medically disqualified. I could no longer play basketball. So right there, two of my loves that I really felt made me kind of who I was were taken all in one fell swoop. I would jump down a couple steps and a leg would just give out from under me and I'd hit the ground, something that 6 months before was perfectly normal for somebody my age to do. I went to Mayo Clinic 6 or 8 different times for them to study and try to figure out what was going on. To me, that time in my life was extremely hard because I could feel what was going on in my body, that things weren't right, but yet medicine couldn't give me an answer. At that time, I was newly married to my wife, Tara, and we had just found out that she was pregnant with our first child. I went in and had another muscle biopsy here in Lincoln, and that was when they gave me the official diagnosis of limb-girdle muscular dystrophy. And they said, eventually your heart and lungs are muscles and they're going to be affected. Your long-term survival looks like it's going to be in the 5 to 6 year range. And I remember calling my dad and breaking down. And then I remember getting home and trying to talk to Tara, who was 7 months pregnant, and explain to her this is what our life may look like. And pleading with God to take it away. I knew that I was a Christian and I went to church on Sunday mornings, but it was a superficial relationship between God and me. Truly, it was at that time when we found the Berean church. And I remember hearing Brian Clark, and a couple times it felt like he was talking directly to me. Like, once you go through something like that, where you don't know if today or next week is your last day, it focuses that relationship with Jesus. And it also clarifies what Jesus did for us. Because we're saved by grace through faith. And that Jesus paid that debt for us, and that he was the one who made that sacrifice, so that all of this is really insignificant in comparison to what that reward is later on. Today, my life doesn't look anything like what I had planned out 15 or 20 years ago. But in certain ways, it's so much better. I get to do a lot of public speaking on dealing with adversity and help middle school kids and high school kids through that time, different groups in the community that are dealing with hard things. Brian talked several times about how going through the wilderness it can be taken both literally and figuratively. I worry that I won't be able to walk out on the basketball court when Evan's a senior for Parents' Night. And I worry that I won't be able to walk my daughter down the aisle when she gets married.
Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly.
So every day when I deal with this struggle, the question is never far from my mind. Can I really trust God? To be real honest, I've learned through this that it isn't really a question. It's assured to us. God is there. God cares for us. God walks with us. And when we can no longer stand or we can no longer walk, He will carry us.